Hey guys, what's happening? Today we're asking a simple question with an obvious answer. Tentacool is one of my favorites from back in the day, and he's about to relive his glory days. Or is he? If we were running this bad boy in red and blue, then the game would be super easy. Yellow, though, there's a bit of wiggle room to make this quite a bit more challenging. Tentacool's stats here are pretty good as far as Generation 1 goes. Now, back in caveman times, special attack and special defense were combined, meaning that we're going to hit really hard with that 100 special, and we'll be decently tanky against special attacks. Alright, let's get those stats off screen and replace that with our level up moves and our TM moves. And this is where Tentacool is a little deceptive. Water Poison, well, you'd think we'd get by Brock just by hearing Water type, but we don't start with a Water move, and we don't actually learn one for quite a while. And here in Pokemon Yellow, both of Brock's Pokemon, Geodude and Onix, are 2 levels lower, which means that Geodude doesn't even have defense curls, so that's going to be super annoying to fight. Couple that with our bad defense, it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. And speaking of Brock's revamped team, I picked Yellow because Tentacool isn't weak to any of the starters in the original games. Here though, well, Tentacool can in fact be weak to one of the evolutions. Winning the first rival fight, as well as defeating him in the optional battle west of Viridian City, means that he'll end up with a Jolteon by the time we get to Silph. Yeah, that kind of figures, doesn't it? One of the coolest Kanto mons is so awesome that Gen 1 needed a second game just to give Tentacool a proper challenge. Also, Water Poison is a pretty awesome type combination in my humble opinion. And it is, in fact, this type combination that also pushed me to play into Yellow because of some of Generation 1's little, programming happy accidents, we'll call them. Now, speaking of playing a game from the Stone Age, as the first of this massive franchise, well, things were a little bit different back in Generation 1. That might surprise you, I know. And one of the things that was different back in the day is what certain types were effective against and what they weren't effective against. Alright, coming up here is a perfect example. One of Game Freak's decision back in OK Boomer days was to make Bug and Poison type super effective against each other. Can you imagine how that would be today? That'd be kind of awesome, not gonna lie. And that makes leveling up for Brock pretty easy. I mean, mind-numbing certainly, because another thing about Tentacool is that Tentacool is part of the slow level up group. Yay! However, we don't have to grind in the forest for that long, because not only are we going to go fight our rival west of Iridium so that we can have a Jolteon by the time we get to Silph, but we're going to want to hit level 13 by the time we get to Brock, because we're going to need the move Wrap. Like, nowadays, moves like Wrap and Fire Spin are kind of whatever, but back in the rad 90s, Wrap was kind of an annoying move, as long with moves like Fire Spin, Clamp, etc. Wrap is a normal type move with, I believe, 15 base power and 85 accuracy, things you'd never know because you never find out these details in the Generation 1 games. But what makes it such a dangerous and annoying move is that, unlike today, and by unlike today, I mean unlike from Gen 2 onward, when you get hit by Wrap, it lasts for 2 to 5 turns, and you are stun-locked for the duration of it. So if you're faster, well, that spells disaster and hilariously broken gameplay, which we're totally going to use to our advantage to get by Brock at an early level. Oh yeah, and you see on screen right now, we just got crit back-to-back by Spearow. Yeah, it's probably gonna take a couple tries. The quest to level 13 continues, but we do have a fairly useful tool in the form of Supersonic. It's a coin flip on whether or not it's going to hit, but being able to confuse them and have them hit themselves in confusion, that'll be super nice. Not only that, but Acid has a secondary effect. It has a small percentage to lower the enemy's defense by 1 stage, which means if they hit themselves in confusion, they're going to hit themselves harder. Although our physical attack is low, we do get the same type of attack bonus from it, so 60 base power, taking all that into consideration, isn't too bad for this point in the game. As you saw, it only took us another try, and voila, we are done with the rival. Now, we're gonna go ahead and cut over to Brock. Just know that I did battle the junior trainer in here. We aren't that great against him because ground resists poison, but with some supersonic luck and acid defense drop lowering, we managed to get by after a couple of tries. Now, as we engage with Brock for the first time, I do have Wrap, but I want to try fighting him without it just to see how we match up. And the fight you're seeing before you, it's going to be pretty hard to narrate this one because it's Supersonic Luck and Geodude mostly not bothering to hit itself. But on the turns where it does hit itself, though, you can see just how much more damage it deals. Still, though, our Confusion luck wasn't that great. I mean, we do beat the Geodude, and that's pretty sweet and all. But we have very little health left remaining for Onix, and although we get hit with Tackle, and we do confuse him while he goes for Bide, which is cool. Not much really comes from it. I mean, here you go. He's confused again, and he goes for Bide. Now, this isn't the worst thing ever, because as he's charging up energy based on the damage we deal to him, we can use Supersonic, so we don't actually mind Supersonic misses here either. And although this is certainly possible without Wrap, there's no point in not using it. However, having Wrap does not guarantee success because, again, it does have 85 accuracy, and you're about to see this move miss like frickin' crazy. What I'm doing before Wrap spam is I'm trying to get a defense drop with Acid. No such luck. Now, you might think it's pointless going for Acid and Supersonic in synergy with Wrap, but again, the defense drop and Geodude hitting itself in confusion is going to allow us to conserve our power points so that we can have the bulk of our Wraps for Onix. Now, the one thing we really don't want to have happen to us is having Geodude crit us. I mean, we're fragile enough as is, so one critical hit and it's good night, Irene. And hey, look at that, not one, but 2 defense drops. That's not too bad. And we'll go ahead and engage in our Wrap battle, and thanks to that, Geodude goes down without us taking any further damage. Now, as the Onix comes out, we do get a bit of initial luck with Wrap hitting, and we're able to take him down quite a bit thanks to stun locking him. However, our next attempt at Wrap misses, and Onix goes for Bide. That's okay. Now, the thing about Bide is that he stores up energy and returns the damage he receives back to you in double. However, with Wrap, it only counts the last tick of Wrap, so we're going to take very little damage from Bide. And really, from here, it's just a matter of keeping him confused with Supersonic and stun locking him with Wrap, which makes it a lot less likely that he's going to act. With a little bit of elbow grease, we managed to squeak our way past Brock. The trainers east of Pewter City are nothing to worry about, and as soon as we hit Mount Moon, we're about to get a lot stronger, and this run is going to start to pick up a little bit. Now, coming up is another Generation 1 exclusive as far as TMs are concerned. Running away from Zubat here, make our way west a bit, and we're going to pick up TM12, that's Water Gun. We do learn it naturally, but there's literally no reason not to teach it now. Now that we can make use of our base 100 special and a move with the same type attack bonus, it's time to bulldoze our way on over to Cerulean City. Now, this doesn't mean that we're in the clear yet. We are going to still have to rely on Wrap at least for a little while longer, much to my own chagrin. And I'm showing Paris here, another one of my favorite Pokemon, but we need a Pokemon that can use Cut and Dig. That's going to help us travel around a little bit faster. Not that we're going for speed, but Paris also learning Cut is awesome because we need Cut to make progress at certain points in the run here. Now, something that's different in Pokemon Yellow as opposed to Red and Blue is that we have to fight Jesse and James a small handful of times, which is super awesome because they're both great. As awesome as they are, though, they're not great trainers. I mean, yeah, Meowth does crit us with Bite, which is normal in Generation 1. But besides that crit, we were never in any real danger. Meowth crits a lot due to his base speed. That's how critical hit rates in Generation 1 work, by the way. The higher your base speed, the more you crit. Making our way on over to Cerulean City, I feel like we are of sufficient level to deal with the obstacles ahead. Now we gotta make sure that we pick up that hidden rare candy while we're in town, and I'm thinking we're gonna go fight the rival first. And while Yellow is considered to be overall the tougher game, there are parts in Red and Blue that are harder, and Rival number 2 here is a shining example of how that's true. Rival 2, the Cerulean City rival, whatever you want to call him, he's actually very easy. Spearo's easy, Sandshrew is an obvious one-shot, Rattata is a one-shot with Water Gun, and Eevee's going to be a 3-shot, so let's drop some Acid just to mix things up a little bit. Now, as we get ready to do battle with the required Goldeen trainer, you're going to see that we've only gotten 2 level-ups. We have fought most of the trainers, obviously the ones on Nugget Bridge, they're all required. But East, I decided to fight as many as possible. It's a testament to the struggle of being in the slow level-up group, but Pokemon in the slow level-up group, like Tentacool and Tentacruel, well, there's a reason why they're there. It's because they're good. Still, the fight with that Goldeen trainer could have gone either way. That was a nasty crit we received from Peck back there. Now, as far as Misty goes, I don't think she's going to be too bad. Starmie is going to be faster, but Staryu, I'm pretty sure we can just stun lock it with Wrap. And I did say earlier that you were going to see Wrap miss like crazy because we missed not only one time, but a second consecutive time. That's a 15% chance, by the way, each. Thankfully, Staryu's not the strongest Pokemon. And it's these Wrap misses that goes to show that, although it is a cheesy move, it is a bit unreliable because it misses so much. And to finish off Staryu, go ahead and use Acid to ensure that we hit. As for Starmie, of course it's faster. Thankfully, we confused it off a Supersonic. Starmie does know hard it and goes for it, and Misty will use an X-Defend, but Acid can potentially counter that. I really love Misty's borderline refusal to fight us. I mean, she will attack us a couple times with Tackle at the end here. But it's just not enough. Thanks to her unwillingness to fight, we use Wrap, get a nice clutch critical hit. That's one more thing to mention. Every hit of Wrap that's a critical hit in Generation 1, if you crit the first one, all of them crit. Now, in order to make progress, we have to do battle with our rival aboard the SS, and he's not much stronger than last time. I used Water Gun to clear out the trainers here, and then replaced Water Gun with Bubble Beam for this coming fight, and we're gonna see that in action. Bubble Beam, TM11, which we got from Misty, is 65 base power. We get the same type attack bonus, and, well, you see it on screen right now. We didn't even heal. We're at about a third of our health. And taking out that Spearow with Bubble Beam has to be super cathartic for our girl Cruella here. But yeah, the entire team is an easy sweep. Now, we have Wrap for the grass types in Rock Tunnel and Bubble Beam for everything else. As we leave the SS, and rather than backtracking all the way to Cerulean City, we're gonna head on over to Diglett Cave. I already grabbed the bike voucher, and I would have dug out there. But since I did that already, we're going to go here and do it. We'll dig our way back to Cerulean City. Man, that's a mechanic I really miss. And yes, I know, Teleport does the same thing mechanically, both in this game and today, but Dig performing the same function was just kind of awesome. That may be something I missed, but one thing I do not miss from Generation 1 is our items menu. Man, we can hold so little here. It's important to make stops like this, barring you're not trying to speedrun or go fast. It's very easy to have your inventory get filled up real quick in these games. And fortunately for us, we are neither speedrunning nor trying to go fast. It's a nice, casual, chill Generation 1 run. As mentioned before, we have all the tools we need to get by Rock Tunnel, although some of the trainers are going to be a bit of a slog due to Wrap taking forever in fights. So we're going to cut straight on over to Celadon City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Yes, I made that reference because Celadon City is where the grass gym is, and Erica's pretty. Oh man, going through here, man, I really miss the days where you could just give somebody a glass of fresh water, and then you get the Ice Beam TM in return for it. And you know what the best part is? We don't have to rely on Wrap anymore for this run. I can't tell you how elated I am. Now, we'll go ahead and test out this shiny new toy against Giovanni, but first we have to get by Jesse and James. Very easy sweep with Bubble Beam. I'm actually very surprised that Coughing survived the first shot of Bubble Beam. Oh well, no matter. And Meowth and Ekans there, yeah, let's get them a double helping of Dunyan Rings. Now, Giovanni's lineup is slightly different here in yellow. Instead of a Kangaskhan, he has a Persian, and in Generation 1, I'd say that's the better trade-off because Persian is an absolute crit machine. What does it have, like base 115 speed? Well, we'll see how much we get crit in this fight. Now, on the flip side, Onyx and Rhyhorn, absolutely no problem. We can sweep them with Bubble Beam, no problemo. Out comes the Persian. Of course it's going to be faster. And it goes for Growl, an interesting choice, huh? Fine by me. The first Ice Beam of this challenge run ends up straight up freezing Persian. I couldn't have planned that better. That was awesome. Just that alone is worth putting up with the Wrap missing RNG. That's a 10% chance, by the way, and that's awesome because that fight could have very, very easily gone the other way. And I did bring up Erica earlier, so let's go pay her a visit as well. And her team is actually a little bit weaker than it is in Red and Blue because instead of Victory Bell and Wildbloom, she has Weepin' Bell and Gloom. Well, that is what I wanted to do, but I didn't use the Poke Center at Celadon, so, well, we're back in Lavender, so we'll go ahead and just fight our rival right now. Might as well wrap up this part of the, story, I guess. With Ice Beam in our possession, this should be a super easy sweep. And really, the only time I think the rival's ever harder in Yellow is when he's champion. However, one consistency between Red, Blue, and Yellow is that the rival here in Lavender Tower tends to be very easy. Fury wasted the speed advantage with Mirror Move. Now we're going to try Ice Beam on Shelter just for the heck of it. Yeah, alright, that damage isn't bad. Nice! Heads up, just in case you don't know, in Generation 1, unless you get hit by a fire move or use an item, you can never defrost. Yeah, Woolpix, Quick Attack, whatever. Sandshrew is an experience point snack, and Eevee, hey, can we get 2 Fro with the freeze? Nope, but it goes for Growl, so we win. I gotta say, for this point in the game, Eevee is super weak. Next up is the second to last James and Jesse fight. Really nothing to speak of here. We do learn Barrier in this fight. That'll jump up our defense by 2 stages, and at this point, I feel like Supersonic is just too unreliable to keep around. Hey, you never know, it could come in handy in a pinch. Arbok survives, but hits us with Poison Sting. Doesn't matter, we can't get poisoned anyway. And Weezing also a 2-shot. Hey, not bad, they put up a mild fight this time. And in case you're wondering, no, I did not forget to put Lieutenant Surge in the video. We had no business fighting him when we got out of the SS Sand, so now we're going to fight him. And you want to see something that was hilariously lucky? Watch this. Mega Kick misses, 1 in 4 chance, that's likely. Ice Beam does a little over half, and Mega Punch misses, that's a 15% chance. Man, like, Raichu's moves are pretty good. Mega Punch, Mega Kick, Growls, whatever, and Thunderbolt. Yeah, let's not use the same type of attack move we're weak against. Let's just give us the victory. I ain't complaining about that. Now it's Erica time. First up is Lord Spaghetti Monster, Tangela, and I don't know if that crit mattered. Probably not. Tangela has horrible special. And we leveled up. Sweet, just in time for Weepin' Bell. Ice Beam is not quite a one-shot. Great damage, though, and unfortunately we get hit by Stun Spore. And with that, we lose the speed advantage. Thankfully, we're part poison type, so Razor Leaf will do a lot less damage. Unfortunately, we lose our turn to Paralysis, and this Razor Leaf from Weepin' Bell crits us. That's very unfortunate. And, I mean, we're gonna take it out, but we are done, son. Now, next up is gonna be Gloom, the last Pokemon, and because we're already paralyzed, it's gonna go for Petal Dance, and gotta say, our 100 special coming in kinda clutch there. 20 damage from that? That's not bad. And now you saw Razor Leaf and Petal Dance deal ineffective damage. That's just a bug in the game's programming. It does deal neutral damage. The damage dealt is correct, but this game has kind of a weird priority system of typings. And because we're part poison type and poison resists grass, the game thinks that it dealt ineffective damage, while the damage itself is the correct amount. And interesting, I thought for sure Tangela would be a one-shot with Ice Beam. Yeah, I guess that crit was important. And hey, speaking of critical hits, we are the lucky one this time. No Stun Spore for you there, Weepin' Bell. Now, as Gloom comes out, no crit, no freeze off of Ice Beam, and we do get hit by Stun Spore, but we should be alright. Gloom showing the moves with Petal Dance, but doesn't do enough damage, and we don't lose our turn to Paralysis. Bye-bye, Gloom. I like that we were able to beat this gym around their level. We were, what, like 2 levels higher than her team? Now, we did pick up some steam earlier on, but here's where the game is going to come to a bit of a halt. You have Silphco with the rival, who is not as strong as he is in Red and Blue, but still going to be formidable because he'll have Jolteon now. And Koga, who is much tougher for Tentacool here in Yellow as well. I figure now's as good a time as any to take a crack at our rival. He now has Sand Slash, which can be potentially dangerous. We don't one-shot it, although I probably should have gone for a Bubble Beam there. And whoa, that crit did a lot of damage. Ninetales is up next. It goes for Roar, wasting its turn. Bubble Beam does not take it out. Oh, that's not even close. The speed drop's nice, but it has quick attack, so we're done. I want to try just one more time, and I mean, yeah, we are lower leveled than his team, and we're going to be outsped by both Kadabra and Jolteon. But hey, look at that. Critical hit Ice Beam takes out Sand Slash. Very cool. Ninetales is a 2-shot, although it does lower our defense and hits us with Quick Attack before it goes down. Now, against Cloyster, we'll set up Barrier to undo Ninetales' Tail Whip and give us +1 to defense. Thankfully, Cloyster misses with Supersonic. And hey, Critical Oath, Bubble Beam, not bad. And yeah, if we're dealing that damage with the Bubble Beam, we're going to need a better move to deal with Cloyster. And just so happens we have one, actually. And I figured to conserve power points, might as well go ahead and use Acid, and wow, that deals like no damage. But then Cloyster has some of the highest defense in the game, though, so not sure what I was expecting there, besides a defense drop. I'm using Barrier to stall, because I don't want to be confused by the time Kadabra comes out. Oh man, that Acid damage was just next level bad. Wolf, we're confused again, hooray! Well, thankfully not for long. Cloyster goes down, so Kadabra will be next. Unfortunately for us, we are the same level as Kadabra. Kadabra has higher base speed, naturally it's faster, and it has Confusion, which is super effective against us. That would have done a lot of damage to us even if we were at full health. Now, one of the reasons I was so stubborn about this, again, I'm not trying to win because it's pretty clear at this point that I can't. But that damage against Cloyster, yeah, it's time to replace Acid with Mega Drain so we can take full advantage of our special. However, there is one major flaw in our plan here, is that if there's anything that we're fighting that's able of dropping our special, you know, like Kadabra and Alakazam later on in the game, if they drop our special, that's going to be absolutely crippling to us. And while Sand Slash is frozen, I figure go all in with Barrier to max out our defense, so when we inevitably get confused by Cloyster, we won't deal that much damage to ourselves. Also, Ninetales Quick Attack, you see the damage there, and only did 5 to us. Came in super handy. And at this level, looks like Mega Drain's going to be a 3-shot on Cloyster, much, much better than what we had before. And since we're confused, we'll go ahead and use Barrier to undo Ninetales' Tail Whip to max out our defense again. I know that Jolteon has Pin Missile, I figure this will help out against that. Gotta say, too, having good confusion luck, we don't stay confused for that long. And speaking of lucky, Kadabra goes for Psybeam, does not crit us. That'll give us a chance to go for Ice Beam, just to see how much damage we deal to this thing. Ah, you saw that slowed down editing. You thought we were gonna get a freeze again? Yeah, no dice. Okay, so it's about a third. It's clear that we need to get much, much stronger to make progress. There's plenty of trainers around the map, so let's go take some out. So the next time we fight the Silphco rival, we are at level 42, and Sand Slash, I'm sure this is no surprise, very easy one-shot with the Bubble Beam. Ninetales is up next, and turns out we don't one-shot it. That might have been a low damage roll, but no problem. Tail Lips, whatever. And as Cloyster comes up, Mega Drain does about half. We get confused. I actually meant to go for Barrier. That was a misclick. So although we take out the Cloyster, we're facing Kadabra while confused. We do a little bit over half with Ice Beam, and Psybeam does about half to us in return. Following up with Ice Beam, we are able to take out Kadabra, but we're in rough shape for Jolteon. Well, things start off pretty nicely with Pin Missile missing there. And we get a critical hit with Bubble Beam. It's looking up. Jolteon goes for Thunder Shock, not going to deal much damage to us. And unfortunately, we get paralyzed, so we're pretty screwed. Unless he goes for Pin Missile and misses. Okay, that was just unlucky. We so got this fight. Now, as we speed our way back on over to Jolteon, something pretty funny happens here. Our rival goes for a Retroactive Potion, and that's because the rival fights all share programming with the same one from the rival west of Viridian City. Either that or he's a big believer in tough love. And thankfully, as Kadabra comes out, of course we do get hit with Psybeam. Fortunately, no critical hit, so we are going to take it out. However, the 49 HP for Jolteon is not great. What is great is that speed drop, so now we are faster. And let's double up on that luck with a critical hit Ice Beam. We are donezo with this fight. And before we leave, we've got one Giovanni to beat the snot out of. And before we can get to Giovanni, however, we're going to go back and heal at our free little beds that they don't let you use when you kick Giovanni out because they're ingrates like that. Jesse and James are blocking our way, and I have to say, I'm feeling pretty good about this fight. We are quite a bit higher level than their team, although we don't take out the Weezing in one Ice Beam. That did kind of surprise me. We also don't one-shot Arbok. Probably a low damage roll. Glare's not great, but whatever. It's of no consequence. Next up is Meowth growls. We crit him with Ice Beam. Good night, Irene. And hey, might as well take advantage of that free healing while we're at it. That said, I'm not concerned about Giovanni in any way, shape, or form. He's largely unchanged from how easy he is in Red and Blue. Still has Persian. But the rest of his team we are super effective against, so I think this is going to be pretty easy. Oh wait, no, I lied. We're not super effective against Nidorino, but Nidorino's pretty weak at this point in the game. Persian could be dangerous, but we one-shot crit it with Ice Beam. Mega Drain one-shots Rhyhorn, and Nidoqueen's last, yeah, we're good. That was a damageless Giovanni fight because he straight up refused to attack us. That's pretty hilarious, actually. And Koga, this freaking guy, right? We taught TM31 Mimic to Tentacool because we're going to need to mimic Sleep Powder off of Venonat here. Well, the problem with that strategy is that, well, Venonat doesn't miss with Sleep Powder, and we decide to take a nice healthy snooze while we get dunked on by Psychic. And it's like I said before, we have a high special. Venonat doesn't get the same type attack bonus from Psychic, so it doesn't do that much damage, although special drop's not great. Don't you love how they didn't change Koga from using X attack to X special? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? And we wake up and we miss Sleep Powder. That is annoying, but I cannot complain in sincerity with how lucky we've been with Ice Beam so far in this run. So this time we're going to brute force our way through just to see how far we get, and gotta say the Venonats aren't that troublesome. If we can freeze Venomoth, we can win. It is level 50 and is fast. It goes for Leech Life instead of Psychic, and oh my god, look, holy crap! No, that is not 80 base power Leech Life. That's the OG right there. Yikes. Again, Bug is super effective against Poison in Generation 1. Okay, so many attempts later we get this one where we don't get hit by Sleep Powder, but we are able to take it from Venonat, so we should be good now, barring we don't miss. Sleep Powder does have 75% accuracy. Now, as we make our way back to Venomoth, gotta say, I think in Red and Blue that Tentacool, this wouldn't be the easiest fight for it. Certainly easier than this one, but Muck is bulky, and Weezing does have Self-Destruct. And thanks to Weezing's Gen 1er AI in that game, it will go for it, even if it is the last Pokemon, and throw the fight. Now, as Venomoth comes out, this time it does go for Psychic. Without a critical hit, it does just a little bit over half of our health, and we do connect with Sleep Powder. And judging by the damage we're dealing, it's going to be a 4-shot. Having great luck with having Venomoth stay asleep. Well, it would have been a 4-shot, but a super timely critical hit guarantees us victory. What a time to roll a natural Tony and confirm a crit. I like to think that Corolla spec'd into improved critical Ice Beam. Well, here's Blaine. He should be easy, although his team in yellow is much, much, much better. He leads off with Ninetales, and just like back at Silphco, we do have Surf this time, but just like back at Silphco, we leave Ninetales at the Sliver. Blaine does heal with a Super Potion, but nowhere near enough to save Ninetales from a second Surf. Second up is Rapidash. Of course it's faster and wastes its turn with Growl. That's fine. We follow up with Surf and take it out in one shot. That was a pleasant surprise. Last and certainly not least, Arcanine. Of course it's faster. Goes for a takedown, and boy, that does a lot of damage. Now, we're not going to one-shot Arcanine with Surf, but get ready for the most hilarious Gen 1 thing ever. You can take us out with anything. And he goes for Reflect. Great job, man. I love the Generation 1 games, but man, the AI is just so bad sometimes. It went for Reflect because Reflect is a Psychic move or Poison, and the AI thinks that the Psychic type move is super effective against us, even though it doesn't deal damage. Blaine might have been easy, but there's no way that Sabrina's going to be. We're evenly leveled with her entire team, and because Special is one stat in this game, they're all going to be hard to take out. Thankfully, Sabrina wastes her turn with an X-Defend, allowing us to take out Abra. And, whoa! X-Defend, really love those, don't you, Sabrina? Well, Surf should be enough to take out Kadabra. It is, very good. And unfortunately, Alakazam comes out as faster than us and takes us out with Psychic. And I mean, yeah, it was a critical hit, but we are in quite the pickle here. And as we try again, you're gonna see that Abra knows the move Flash. For some insane reason, Game Freak gave this thing Teleport and Flash. I mean, you could teach this thing Psychic via TM. Why doesn't it have Psychic? And a couple of missed turns and wasted turns on her behalf later. She goes for Psywave, and what I can assume is a max damage roll. This is gonna take a few tries, isn't it? Still, I'm not convinced that we have to level up to win this fight. Now, as Abra comes out and Sabrina wastes her time with X-Defend yet again, we don't have any accuracy drops, but you'll notice we missed Ice Beam. Yeah, that's a 1 in 256 chance due to another Gen 1 programming happy accident. Basically, every 100 accuracy move actually has a 1 in 256 chance to miss. Now, as Alakazam comes out, you guys are not ready for this. Check this out. I can only describe this as Sabrina breaking the fourth wall and just straight up throwing the fight. Full health recover, X-Defend, and Reflect. Well, let's go celebrate that hilarity with an easy Giovanni fight. I mean, besides Persian, we're super effective against everything on the team, and really there's nothing that he can possibly do to stand in our way, right? Yeah, as long as we outspeed everything. Oh, wow. Well, that could have gone worse. The Fissure has a 30% chance to hit, so it is faster. Probably could have one-shot us with Earthquake. Persian misses Fury Swipes, thankfully. That probably would have crit and done a lot of damage to us. But if you want to see a lot of damage, Persian takes a critical Surf and gets one-shot by it. And, I mean, our base speed is 70, so our chance to crit is decent. Not the greatest, certainly not the worst. And yeah, we're faster than everything else Giovanni has to throw at us. We one-shot the two Nidos with Surf, and when Rhydon comes out, Goodnight Irene. I mean, it's double weak to all of our moves except Ice Beam, so yeah. And now, before we can make our way on over to the Elite Four, we have our rival who's standing in our way, again, west of Viridian City. And because we have Surf, there's no need for us to even consider using Ice Beam on Sandslash. We're gonna go for Surf as soon as we see the darn thing. Like right now. And it's dead, sir. Next up on the XP Snack chopping block is an Execute, no problem for a single Ice Beam. Get out of here. And as is custom for Ninetales at this point, it slips in a quick attack for 17 damage, but cannot stand up to a single Surf. Heck yeah. And next up, our rival is going to send out Cloyster. Mega Drain does quite a bit of damage, and thankfully Supersonic misses. Better luck next time on that coin flip luck, buddy. Now, unlike in Red and Blue, our rival still has Kadabra at this point, and I guess he hasn't done a trade and subsequent trade back, so we are faster. That actually did surprise me. And as if Kadabra itself heard me smack-talking it, it retorts with a critical hit Psybeam and one-shots us. Yep, that's about what I expected. Okay, so everything up to Kadabra is trivial. We're just gonna speed right by that. I'm thinking that if Surf did that much damage to Kadabra, that Ice Beam should still do about half. And hey, plus with the 10% chance to freeze, it's better to go for that, I think. So, let's give it a shot. Boy, can I call it or what? Now, obviously, that's an imitation of my initial reaction. I decided to go for Mimic, so I'm like, okay, what does this thing even have? I end up deciding to take Psychic because there is a chance for a special drop against Jolteon, so might as well try it, right? Well, that idea is great if I didn't misclick, and there's Thunder. Well, that hits. That's probably gonna one-shot us. I must admit, I'm surprised we survived that. And we can respond in kind with Surf. If we crit it, we can win. Unfortunately, we don't. And there's Pin Missile. Okay. So here's where the gears in my head start turning as we speed through all this triviality. Because we have Mimic, we can steal any move from one of our opponents. So because we have Cloyster, and Cloyster isn't going for Clamp because the AI says it's ineffective against us, but I look at Clamp and I'm thinking, yo, why don't we take that instead? In case you don't know, Clamp is Water-type Wrap, and all water moves are special before Generation 4. Against Cloyster, we had to get the misses out of our system. And this is going to be super useful because we're faster than Kadabra, so we can potentially stun lock it. With a critical hit Clamp, we certainly will. However, there is still Jolteon to deal with, who almost one-shots us with Thunder. Again. And Clamp misses. Well, Jolteon goes for Thunder Wave. We'll go for Ice Beam here. Hopefully we can freeze it. Unfortunately, we do not, so we've lost. Alright, so the Clamp strat, well, it was good on paper, but in practice, not so much because Jolteon's faster. Well, if Jolteon's faster, let's make him slower than us. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Stun Spore off of Execute, and we have to not get hit by it. Well, Leech Seed, hey, Leech Seed missing, that's perfect. Now, we'll go ahead and just speed our way on up to Kadabra here, the only other relevant Pokemon in this fight besides Jolteon. I'm thinking when it comes time to square down with Kadabra that we're just going to brute force it, because going for Stun Spore isn't going to really help us because we're already faster. And the strat with Kadabra is go for Ice Beam. Hopefully we freeze this guy. And as we go for it, must have been a super low damage roll. We didn't even do half there. But we do get the freeze. Oh yeah. And that's great because we're now at Jolteon with full health. Oh yeah, I forgot Jolteon had Psychic type agility. Well, here's Stun Spore, so now we are faster. That's with 1 agility too. Nice. Well, Surf ends up doing pretty solid damage. Jolteon goes for agility again, so it actually is faster and it triples up on agility. Cool. Honestly, the only way we would have lost against Jolteon is if we got critically hit by Thunder. Okay, so as we make our way to the league, we're going to fight all the trainers, and I think this is a great time to pop off all of our rare candies. So we'll be in the 60s when we're fighting the Elite Four, but we are going to need all of the extra attack power that we can get. Now, our little posse of HM users have done their job, so we're going to go ahead, heal up, save, all that good stuff. Put them away, and as we pop our rare candies, I figure, okay, let's just cut by that. You'll need to see it. We actually have excellent type coverage for every member of the Elite Four we're going to face, and of course the champion, whose entire team is going to be fully evolved at this point. However, with a bit of difference in Lorelai's team from Red and Blue, there is one Pokemon in particular who's going to be very dangerous, but also a blessing. Now, as we battle Lorelai, on turn 1 we're going to go for Ice Beam because Dewgong will go for Rest. I figure there's no sense in wasting power points on our better moves. And while Dewgong's asleep, we just slowly take it down with Mega Drain. Next up is Cloyster, and just like our rival, this one loves Supersonic, and it misses, and we two-shot it with Mega Drain. Now, against Slowbro here, we have to mimic Amnesia because Slowbro will go for Amnesia, and if he hits us with Psychic, it's Goodnight Irene, so we want to make sure that we're as tanky as possible. And at the same time, that means we're just going to sweep the rest of this team. Now, in case you're unaware, Amnesia boosts your special by 2 stages. That's the modern-day equivalent of using Calm Mind twice in 1 turn. Yep, red, blue, and yellow, perfectly balanced games. I do like the finish to this fight, healing to full by using Mega Drain on Lapras. And if you thought that was awesome, oh baby, are you ever ring-a-ding wrong, because Bruno's up next. And Bruno's Hitmons have terrible special in Generation 1, because I guess Game Freak thought that they made Fighting type too strong in this generation. And I mean, you see it on screen, everything is a sweep. Now, I'll tell you straight up, we are not going to one-shot Machamp, although I suspect that was, again, a low damage roll. But Bruno uses X-Defend. Nothing but the finest of tactics from the Elite Four. Now, as we make our way to Agatha, again, her team's very different as well. We're going to need it to waste a turn because we need to mimic Substitute. And, well, as combat starts, I don't mean to go for Surf, but it's good to know that we deal quite a bit of damage. And she uses Substitute, that's fine. We'll go ahead and mimic it, as long as it'll get confused or paralyzed off of Lick. Gengar goes for Mega Drain, that's going to deal, like, no damage. And with our own Substitute setup, we can go ahead and sweep. We're going to have to break Gengars first. That's going to be very easy. And despite Agatha's illegal use of a Super Potion retroactively, you take her out with Surf, no problemo. Golbat's next, one-shot with Ice Beam. Haunter's up, we don't quite one-shot it. Agatha once again breaking the rules with that Super Potion. Ah, I get it. This must be one of those okay boomer back in my day moments. We only had Super Potions. Now it all makes sense. But yeah, Gengar number 2 is the main reason why we want Substitute. It does no Psychic, and it has a high crit rate, so yeah. Now, Lance is up next, and he's not going to be the sweep that we think he is here in Pokemon Yellow. We have to really hope that Gyarados will be a 2-shot with Ice Beam. And, I mean, if he uses Hyper Beam, it's pretty much good night, because even if we survive it, Aerodactyl has it too. But, you know, Leer is cool too. Well, that damage on Gyarados is pretty good. Easy 2-shot, and both Dragonairs are obviously going to be 1-shots with Ice Beam. Problem is that Aerodactyl's next is much faster than we are, and wastes no time going for a Hyper Beam. Now, I'm gonna tell you this straight up. Like, my jaw hit the floor when I saw that we survived that. We have -1 to defense, don't forget. We did get hit by Leer. But that's cool because Dragonite goes down to 1 Ice Beam. He's quad weak to it. Yeah, like I said, Tentacool matches up very well against Kanto's Elite Four here. We'll take a quick little peek at our stats. We have okay speed, pretty good special, don't care too much about the physical attributes. And before we fight our rival for the final time, we'll go and replace Ice Beam with Blizzard. Blizzard has 90 accuracy in this game. Don't know why, but that is pretty awesome. Yes, I know, that's a very interesting way of saying broken. Well, might as well see how we do against the champion. I mean, the only way to go is forward, and leading off with Sandslash, we're going to start strong because we're faster than Sandslash, and obviously Surf's going to be a 1-shot. However, our momentum gets halted pretty soon, as Alakazam is faster than us, hits us with Psybeam, doesn't crit, but does confuse us, because of course it does. We do get hit by Kinesis, which is even more unfortunate. However, we are able to land a Surf for okay damage, not bad actually. I wasn't expecting a 1-shot, but that is better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, if we're slower than Alakazam, then Jolteon's going to be faster. Even if we lucked our way to Jolteon, we would get destroyed. So, I'm gonna go grind off of the Elite Four, and I'll see you guys in a couple seconds, thanks to the power of editing. Now, we're just gonna speed by these fights. I mean, we've seen them play out the first time, and we're much higher leveled this time, so I get the feeling they're gonna play out mostly the same. Honestly, it didn't take all that long to grind to this level, even though we are in the solo level up group ourselves. The Elite Four's pretty easy. Along the way, there are a couple of minor hiccups, because you never know how the fights are gonna go with how Poke RNG can be. And of course, for Slowbro here in particular, we still need to mimic Amnesia, because we don't want to get hit by a +6 Psychic, which Slowbro does like to try and go for. Although I highly doubt that's intentional, because Slowbro has 2 Psychic moves, so it's a coin flip on which one it'll go for. I only lost a couple of times while just grinding out these attempts. Slowbro did crit me with Psychic, because, you know, of course it would, right? Bruno I only lost to once because I got super unlucky and got hit with a critical strength. Agatha, well, it turns out Substitute is pretty important in that fight because if you do get paralyzed before you can mimic the Substitute, you can make it to Arbok, but Arbok will spam Wrap, and because you don't have the speed advantage and you can lose your turns to paralysis, yeah, that's pretty bad. I would say of the four that Agatha poses the greatest challenge just with how crazy some of her RNG shenanigans can be. And it's because we have to spend one turn mimicking Substitute, and the first Gengar can paralyze you off a lick, it can hit you with Confuse Ray. But even so, we do hit reasonably hard. And as for Lance, the only time I really ever lost to him was to Aerodactyl hitting us with Hyper Beam. And of course, by hit, I mean crit, because with Aerodactyl's base speed, it's one of the biggest crit machines in the entire game. And one other thing worth mentioning is that because I'm trying to get experience points off of the Elite Four, I just go as far as I can until I fall, and I usually make it to the champion, or I'll fall to Agatha's Arbok for reasons I mentioned before. One great thing that comes from these attempts is that I learned just when to use PowerPoint restoring items. Now, while I'm grinding, of course I don't use them, because once you use them, they're gone forever. And here in Generation 1, PowerPoint restoring items are extremely rare. Of course, there are no berries at the time, so it's critical to know when we need to restore our PowerPoints, and, well, we got it down to such a science that we actually don't have to at all until we get to the champion. That's pretty cool. Not as cool as that Hyper Beam miss, though. That's a 10% chance. And, of course, the big bad Dragonite one-shot with the Ice Beam. Okay, so now that we're back at the champion, I figured to go ahead and instead of using both of our remaining rare candies, we'll use one. We managed to do the bulk of this run being around our rival's level. It's kind of a shame that Tentacool ran out of gas right at the finish line. But hey, if we have to be a bit higher leveled than his team to take them out, then so be it. We came this far, we can go get that gold medal, so let's go ahead and fight our rival yet again. Now, y'all know the drill this time. Sandslash being up first is whatever, just continuing to be the XP snack he's been for most of this run. The question now is, do we outspeed Alakazam? Well, out it comes, so let us see. I'm gonna go for Surf to do as much damage as possible, and yeah, we do outspeed, sweet. Even better, Alakazam misses with Kinesis. Alright, we're good. And though we're good for now, this is not a guaranteed victory by any means. Case in point here, as Executor comes out, we use Blizzard. Almost a one-shot, and unfortunately we get hit with Leech Seed. And I mean, we don't take damage from Executor, but we are in a soft time limit now. We'll go ahead and finish off Cocoa Wheats here with Surf. Next up, the rival's going to send out Cloyster. We'll go ahead and go with Surf. Does quite a bit of damage, all things considered. He goes for Spike Cannon, attacking us for the first time this entire challenge, and we can finish him off with Mega Drain. Ninetales is up next, foregoing its Quick Attack strat. I believe it still has it. And gets one shot by Surf. Nice. Last but certainly not least is our rival's Jolteon. Of course it's faster. Hits us with a 1, 2, 3 punches, man, and Blizzard misses. With that Leech Seed, we're low enough to get one shot by Thunder. Except he misses. That was nice. Blizzard hits hard. We get hit by Thunder Wave. Please don't lose turn to paralysis. We don't, and we've done it. Gotta say, that was a lot of fun to do. Tentacool is one of my favorite Pokemon, so it's always fun to play as it. I would have liked to have been a lower level, but I'm going to leave that for someone who's much better at this game than I am. And, I mean, pretty much up until the Elite Four, we were around the level of everything we were fighting, so that was pretty cool. One thing I really love about Gen 1 Mimic is that it allows any Pokemon who can learn the TM to make up for some much-needed type coverage in the middle of a fight. And being able to mimic Amnesia from Slowbro is the best thing ever, especially when you're weak to Psychic-type moves. Now, I've got a bunch of fun Pokemon content on the way. As for who's next, let's go with Wooper only in Pokemon Crystal. I mean, seriously, how can you say no to that face? Well, I hope you guys had as much fun on this classic little adventure as much as I did. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you at the next challenge. Again, Wooper, Pokemon Crystal. Take care, guys. Have a good one.